Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pillars of Eternity 2. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're supposed to join me today, here, talking to Woodika, the jerk. She's absolutely the worst, and is responsible for many bad things. She also thinks very highly of herself, as you can see over here. She, is talking about the creation of the gods, and I was rambling on and on about things, so let's do that.
How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy.
I really would like to kill you all. That's what I would
The
like.
soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Aethys shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that.
I need to level up more?
So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions.
Apparently I do. Why did you choose to confide in me?
Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Eora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future.
I would love to know what exactly she plans on doing. This is the first time I'm hearing any of this, and I'm not 100% sure the game is doing it on purpose to just tell me that she's gonna assume her rightful position as tyrant somehow. What? How does? I think she was talking about their titans though, because apparently it seems they all have their own titans made of Adra, which would make a lot of sense if we're talking about the creation of the gods as sort of sucking the souls into Adra and somehow making gods. It would make sense for them to be sort of stored in titans and then eventually sent into the ether or whatever the gods are, because it's all very mystical and metaphysical and things. You speak as if we don't have a chance.
You speak as if you do. Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once my position is upheld, the undecided among the gods will embrace my plan.
This is the sort of storyline that begs for the best of endings. Can you imagine? I can't. I'm wondering out loud, because that would be the best of endings. An ending that would allow me to disappoint her and still come out on top without just, fighting her at the end, because that's not... I will fight somebody, I'm sure. A dragon, or 5. But can you imagine an ending where we'd be able to destroy the gods somehow, thwart their idea of what their rightful place is in Eora? Actually, they're not in Eora. When she says Eora, she actually means the planet. That's the name of the planet. But can you imagine that? I can't imagine an ending. I can't see it. At this moment, I'm hopeful. I've been hopeless, I should say. I've been hopeless since the beginning, when we sort of talked back to Barath, and they just sort of absolutely put me in my place. These are super powerful beings. And I'm constantly aware that my attitude towards them is not an attitude that the writers foresaw. What I was talking about last episode about not getting the fundamental dilemma of the first game, even though I finished it twice on camera and discussed it thoroughly on the second time I did it. I just went on rambles for half an hour at a time about all the things. I don't think it's super weird to experience the game like this, because I'm picking on things and I'm understanding things. I don't think it's not like I'm I'm not putting my experience as a subjective thing. I'm saying outright that in the first game, it's not in the text, the things the game is trying to tell. The first game doesn't actually say what the developers think the first game says. I'm saying that. That is my opinion for sure, but that like it's not a matter of you can disagree with me and it's all fine. It's like if you disagree with me, you need to bring arguments and I'll bring my arguments. You know what I'm talking about? So like I'm saying outright that the game is holding things from me. And I can't really engage with it, I think, in the same way that developers want me to. So I'm primed to have an ending that will just blow me away. I want that. I want an ending that will it's funny because it's not an ending that will make sense. It's not necessarily what I mean is I'm not asking for an ending that will answer everything. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm asking for an ending that will just surprise me completely and will sure make sense, but not necessarily answer everything. I'm just saying I don't know what's going to happen. We're screwed right now, especially with her trying to be the queen that is. She was already doing that in the first game, so this is sort of an allusion to what she was saying. The gods think my actions can prove their points about mortal society. Has your opinion of mortal changed at all? I want to talk about the wheel and your rise to godhood. Oh, these are the questions again. Let's go with that one. The gods think my actions can prove their point?
Prove it or disprove it, yes. I never agreed to this arrangement, but if your example demonstrates mortal ineptitude, as I trust it will, then I can make the plan serve me. An assertive minority of gods believe that your choices will prove the value of their wild optimism. As if mortal collaboration and ingenuity are endorsements of our leadership.
That's what I was saying, I guess. It's like one thing doesn't follow the other.
Then there are those of us who know better, who are not so easily convinced. Kith are vulnerable, unless they submit to the destiny we chart for them. Thinking otherwise can only breed dissent and chaos.
You speak as if dissent and chaos is a bad thing. Tell me about this enlightened society you once wanted.
It was an ambitious plan, our utopia. Perhaps too ambitious. We ascended to power, responding to a need inadequately satisfied.
That's what I was saying last episode about the gods not existing, and people needed the gods to exist. Mostly because their society was based on the lie that gods existed. Let me just say that utopia can mean the dystopia of others. I think there's some line, some text, some work that goes like, my utopia is your dystopia, or something like that. Dystopia being the opposite of utopia. But to me, the true utopia is the really unattainable, or the not necessarily unattainable, but the quasi-paradoxical. You can define utopia as a very specific thing and say, it's a world where everybody wears silk or something like that, and that's your utopia, sure, whatever. That's really small, but that's the kind of utopia that's really small-minded, I mean. It's the kind of utopia she's referring to here. There's another way of looking at utopias, which is the world where everybody's content and happy. And that is by definition good. Well, I guess there's philosophy schools that disagree with that. So I guess even that utopia is somebody's dystopia. But generally, most people will agree that being happy is good and being content is good. But the problem is the means is what really is. How do you get there is the question. But there's other ways of looking at utopias than what she's about to say.
Assuming these roles gave us the authority to mold Eora over time, to influence you and lay the groundwork for a society yet to come. On the outset of the plan, some believed that mortals would outgrow us, as if that was a favorable outcome. To me, our eternal pantheon was always a critical fixture. Aethys was one of those who supported mortals, while I have always been their most vocal critic.
Why do the other gods tolerate your opposition?
Opposition can take many forms. If a church embraces and weaponizes my doctrine, that is very different from me rampaging as a titan.
Temple. Church is specifically Christian, but sure. It's not the first time it happens.
Aethys is not known for subtlety. Twice now, he has contaminated the purity of our experiment, and done so with extravagant displays that undermine our authority.
This worries me tremendously. Our experiment. Not worries me, surprises me more than anything. It's not a worry, it's just sort of puts me on edge. Are we talking about sort of like vault experiments or something like in Fallout? So you call what Theos did subtle? I mean, yeah. Once Andra dropped a moon on Eora. What do you call that?
Impulsive.
Impulsive.
I am the counterpoint to the soft-hearted. It makes no difference if mortals pass some arbitrary test. My mind is settled on the matter. Regardless of my feelings, the timing of this crisis forces us to accelerate our schedule. Final judgment comes sooner than any of us would prefer.
We're just going in with an all-out final judgment. That's quite finite. It's right there in the name. How would you have recognized that ideal society?
A valid, self-defeating question, and one which I posed often.
She has all the tools she needs to give me an answer that is just gonna be amazing. The definition of self-defeating here is where it's all at. Let's see what she says.
We assumed that they, whoever they were, would reveal themselves to us. Rational government would rule in our stead, leaving churches vacant.
Yeah, she didn't answer. That she just. My question is, how would they reveal yourselves to? How would that doesn't answer my question.
Thanks to Aethys, we're pulling the dough from the oven before it's had a chance to fully rise. You unfortunate bastards never had the chance to prove me wrong.
No, we never will. The interesting bit about that is that my question from a scientific perspective, and obviously we're not talking about science here, but from a scientific perspective, to ask the question, how will you know when you find the answer, is wrong. Because the question is, how will you know if the answer you found is wrong? That is the basic principle of science. And when she said self-defeating, she had everything to point out the basic problem of expecting a solution and looking for it. Because the answer that the question that comes after that is, what if when you find what you're looking for, that's still not the answer? So that's why yeah. But I was expecting her to go somewhere in that direction. She just gave me empty platitudes about nothing. She didn't actually answer the question. Doesn't this social engineering plan seem counterintuitive? I don't know where I'm coming. Or I'm going to with that question, but I'll go with that.
You mean gods crafting a godless world?
Oh, right. Yes.
Naturally.
She's smarter than my character.
My siblings desired to influence mortals and steer them in a proper direction, even if that direction led to places we could not follow. I have no intention of being left behind. Society would unravel without its queen to impose strict order.
You can tell. She's a jerk. We know that, don't we? So what happens if someone proves you wrong? That is the question.
If our pantheon found that mortals had cultivated a perfect, lawful system to maturity, I would not voice a word in protest. I would merely stand aside and await the inevitable collapse.
I would have loved if she hadn't said that word. That sort of drove her point a little bit too deep. She's just a lawful god, really. Lawful neutral, I would say. But her love for the law is just absolute. It is just fitting for sure, but it's like inhuman. She's not human, obviously, but that's the point. She is not relatable in that way. Like, she's blatantly saying that a perfect system would have to be lawful. She leaves no room for anything else. Which just makes her, just that's what she is. A god, a thing fixated on a principle. And the other gods are the opposite. There's gods that are all about the chaos. I don't remember. It's Rimergander. Does she hate Rimergander specifically? I imagine she would. Or was it Whale? I don't remember which god is about the god of chaos. There is a god of chaos. Maybe we're gonna talk to them like that, but yeah.
Mortals need us. I know this as well as I know myself. Even a lawful and responsible society would be poised to collapse as long as its architects and strongest adherents were mortal. Any satisfaction that my siblings derived from their little experiment would be short-lived, and it would fall to me to clean up after their mess.
This is something I wanted to say before. So you're right even when you're wrong. Got it.
Make no mistake, Watcher. In this, I cannot be proven wrong.
She says she will not be... She doesn't say she won't be proven wrong. Is that it's impossible for her to be proven wrong. Did I talk about science before? That's the definition of pseudoscience. I wonder if there's subtext there. I wonder if it was on purpose. I doubt it. If she had taken that answer or that question in the direction I was sort of thinking, hoping she would, then maybe there would be text, subtext, I mean, but nah, she's just saying. I'm just commenting on the words, not really commenting on the text, I think. But it is.
You have learned much already. Only ask if you are ready for the truth.
Has your opinions of mortals changed at all?
Nothing you've done has tarnished it utterly beyond repair. You may congratulate yourself on that much, at least.
You should have seen the other save that I have where I chose the beginning where I did everything wrong. I wonder if she would say something different. I hope she would. I want to talk to you about the wheel and your rise to godhood. I don't know what those two have in connection, but I do want to talk about that.
The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Aethys keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle.
Yeah, that's so if you don't have what the wheel is... Oh, she's going to explain all the things, so I don't need to explain to you. How exactly does the wheel function?
Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point.
That's a very good point.
The wheel has but one material component in all of Aora. Something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. We succeeded in widening the gap, diverting it, giving it an efficient path to follow.
Intervened? You didn't intervene. She doesn't mean intervene right now. As she was saying in the previous sentence, I was thinking these jerks are destroying the Adra pillars, the freaking idiots. I told you that was a bad idea. And they're basically screwing up everything. And I was thinking, why are these guys not stopping them from breaking the Adra pillars? And that's why I jumped to the conclusion that intervening here would be that. But that's not what she means. She means specifically the widening the gap in the directionalist bit. They did something to the Adra. Reincarnation existed before you, so why not just leave it alone? Did it exist before them? If they leave for the wheel, the wheel might be the point. If you want to give the higher purpose of the gods, the higher purpose would be the wheel. Remember how I was saying something about cleaning the floor before? My analogies are the best. Yeah, they're cleaning the floor for the wheel. Maybe. Let's ask that.
Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies.
Oh, screw you, game. Oh, freaking hell. Oh, man, that sucks. So what she's admitting right now... Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh, my teeth hurt. Oh, son of a freaking Woodica. Seriously, that is... Oh, come on. Okay, so I'll voice my complaints here, because I'm not really... I'm just sort of shouting. So the question of, are the gods needed, is rendered moot. It's irrelevant in the way that you'd immediately think it is relevant. Because the gods are actively working to make sure people don't have soul maladies. Well, this jerk over here was also working to make sure people did have soul maladies, so I want her to die, but not maybe all the gods, because I don't want people to get hollowborn, and to be hollowborn in all things. If you don't know what hollowborn is, it's just bad. They're basically soulless people. It's right there in the name, really. So the gods are needed. Yes, they are, because they're making sure the wheel works well, which would make sense, actually, because there's Elthas and there's Berath, and there's at least three gods in specific that have to do with the cycle, and they are very, very connected to the cycle. I think the other one is Abaddon. But the thing is, all of my question, all the time the game is gonna ask, are the gods really needed? I'm gonna be like, yes, they are, because otherwise we get hollowborn. Oh, come on. Okay, well, give me something else, game. Come on.
Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection.
Yeah, that's because you're lawful, and that's all you say, and your words are irrelevant because you wouldn't say anything else. How did the Ingwithin become gods?
At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Eora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history.
Yeah, that's the creation of the gods. It's not really new information, but it's interesting. Specifically, it's interesting that she mentions the individuality. Because, of course, the result of the amalgamation of everybody's personalities, I guess, wouldn't be, individual, it would be collective. It's a fairly tropey thing. It's fine, it's not trope, something being tropey is not bad, it's a thing that we've seen already, and that's good in this situation, because we can understand it easily with just a few words.
Speak, Watcher. It isn't every day that I open myself to these communions. So spend your breath wisely.
I will kill you one of these days.
Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
I said we'll see each other again.
Woedica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
A lethargic, misshapen bird drops a damp missive on the deck. It's a poo. It's a poo. To Penumbra, Captain of the Astute. I know what you're thinking. I have too many lovable cats, dogs, pigs, birds, and pigs. Wait, did you mention... That's on purpose. That's on purpose. That's to be fun. I thought I misread it. But this works better if you're reading it yourself, because, yeah. Like you, I once thought I could take in stray pets, care for their needs, and shower each with equal affection, but we limited beings have only so much love to spread around. And cat food and litter. Unpleasant, unfair, unfortunate. That's why I took it upon myself to optimize affection and curtail my creature care. I bring you the Creature Cleaver. Please don't. What? The Cleaver is a handy, ethics-free apparatus. It does sound like it is. Apparatus yanked from a genuine Ingwithin dig site and restored to glorious functionality. Simply slide your favorite feline down one end and let the cleaver do its charm. That does not sound like a good thing. The best is yet to come. See, the cleaver remembers. Stick a white bird in there, it remembers. Purple pig, it remembers. It even remembers your pet's strengths and weaknesses and favorite places to poop. Now your furry friend isn't just going to slide out of the cleaver's business end same as it went inside. No, they come out different. Better. Sometimes. That's where it gets fun. Combinations. Want a bird to think like a pig? Want a cat to think like a different, better cat? That's not... The cleaver provides. Who the hell wrote this? I mean, in-game, not in real life. The cleaver provides. You'd be doing me a favor of epic proportions if you gave the creature cleaver a whirl. Once folks see you using it, everyone will want to turn. I've moved it to the far wall of the dark cupboard, which is at Pariki's Outlook in Nekatake. You can find the cleaver just due west of the wooden fella. A friend and fellow animal lover. Postscriptum. I fixed the insert receptacle so that it no longer accepts Orlands and give it a good scrubbing. You're welcome. You jerk! I wanted to be half cat, half pig, half Orland. Because they're all very smart creatures. Particularly pigs. I mean, Orlands are more, but I mean, pigs are super smart. So we have a thing that is horrible sounding. I don't even know what to think about any of this, really. Are we still injured? Because that's... I would like not to be. Can we not see that? Can I see the injuries from here? We got proper soundtrack going on right now. Just, haha. We do have... Do we? No, we only have the one. Okay, so we can get some rice. And, well, that was a proper song right there. Hooray! Clap, clap, clap. Constitution. And then there's crafting. Food very positive. Well, that's my kind of food. You can make candied nuts. Well, I guess that would be... candied nuts. I love nuts. Candy as well, so I suppose... Candied nuts would be lovely. I've never had any of the sort, so I don't know. Anyway, let's rest. Out in the ship. What's that? Deadfire merchant. Because we might need to bring down some Valiant Trading Company, Captain, Company Novice. Some people around here. What is that? Thanic. Well, we need to go... I don't even know where I need to go. We need to pursue the lighted path ship. I promise Adair that we will chase down the ship and rescue Baron if he's aboard. We were too late to board the ship. We're tracking Othas. Surely this will lead north and follow his path of destruction. Well, that's gonna be all a bunch of bad things. Gadarian Bosch! They're over there! The jerks. Okay, off we go. And also we're out of time for the day. Just now noticed. So that's gonna be that for right now. I'm Colonel RPG. And this has been Pillars of Eternity 2. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry it was mostly spent in the same screen. But we did get the awful, awful letter at the end. And you got to hear me ramble again. Well, yeah, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you next episode. Don't forget to leave a like if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. That's how I decide which series go up faster than others. Because there's some series that have an episode every day. Or because, you know, the likes. You know how it is. Bye.